Welcome to Apples to Apples, Applesode 1. Today, we'll be reviewing the Cosmic Crisp. I'm your host, Cortland Kyle. As always, joined by my cohort in apple crime, Sweet Tango Steve.
Boy, I hate the apple puns already, I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
As you all know from previous episodes of Apples to Apples, Steve is a little more brazen with his discussion of apples.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today we have an interesting taste.
I'm going to be honest right off the bat. I want to see what the buzz is all about.
A modern apple, which we tend to veer away from here on Apples to Apples.
I like the classics. Give me a Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, Granny Smith. You know, this is like a hipster apple right here.
The Cosmic Crisp, a creation of the Washington.
I don't know why you're talking like that. Can't stand it.
Years of development and billions of dollars invested in the creation of the Cosmic Crisp.
This thing is made in a lab. All right? You know what I like? I like my apples to be made in dirt. I like them to be grown on a tree, then I pick them off the tree.
Much like our apple cesters, Steve is a apple traditionalist.
That is not a word. Never been a word. I don't know why I agreed to this.
Unique taste profile on the Cosmic Crisp. Steve, I am interested to hear your thoughts.
I swear to God, if you start talking about mouthfeel, flavor profiles, consistency, texture, it's an apple. Bite into it, eat it. At the most, put a little peanut butter on it.
We could start, as we always do here on Apples to Apples, with the skin. Steve, your thoughts, the complexities.
It's red.
Coloring.
It tastes the same as the skin of any other apple. You doubt me? We will fight.
Comparable to your Honey Crisp, as you'll notice a lot in the taste profile of the Cosmic Crisp.
Look, if we're doing a tournament, this is a 4 seed at best.
As always, Apples to Apples is not competitive and does not endorse competitive nature regarding apples. We are all simply here to enjoy the wonders of the seed. The apple seed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As we dig a little deeper into the Cosmic Crisp, Steve, the coloring and...
Look, I'm just going to say it. It's a knockoff Honeycrisp. Honeycrisp is good. This one, they stuck a new name on it and tried to pass it off as a new apple, a new species. Like I said, lab-grown apple.
Interesting.
LGAs. You know I hate LGAs.
LaGuardia Airport?
No, lab-grown apple. Garbage.
Interesting to note the liquidity in the apple meat.
Oh, Jesus. It's the same as any other apple.
Take a bite and you can still see the glisten in the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A nice solid, water-laden Cosmic Crisp.
That, you don't even know what that means. Gun to your head, you can't define what you just said.
Interesting to see the growth of the red from top to bottom.
Oh, yeah, real interesting.
Which side?
What are you going to cut it open and count the rings, look at the layers?
Sun forward and sun adjacent during its growth period.
The sun moves. The sun moves all across the sky.
Call it the apple's birth in its infancy before it ended up here on our table.
God, I hate this. I hate that I agreed to this.
Steve, as we wrap up Applesode 1, your final thoughts on the Cosmic Crisp.
Do you really need more from me? Have I not been clear enough? This is a tier 4 apple. Again, maybe a 3 seed but probably a 4, possibly a 5, depending on what else you. I mean, look, your tier 1, your seed 1 is going to be your honey, your Honey Crisp, Granny Smith, Golden Delicious, probably a Red Delicious. Even though I'm not a huge fan, I believe that is a highly overrated apple. But I think that the wants of the many are going to outweigh the opinions of the few. I apologize for getting all worked up, but look.
I thank you for allowing me to give my opinion. Now the Cosmic Crisp, as we close up shop here on Episode 1, a delightful modern invention that could possibly revolutionize the apple industry. Thank you so much for joining us, Apples to Apples. Good day and good morrow.
What does that mean?
It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Steve.
Basically, we got back to the house. I just kind of sat down on the couch. And went, okay, I was out.
So you weren't like running down the street, with a sock over your Johnson.
Not that I'm aware of.
You weren't singing karaoke in the living room, but there's no karaoke machine to be found.
Singing.
Same sock, same Johnson.
And Kyle.
Top tier, the best jokes on the planet, all consist of coming up from behind someone unsuspecting and going, nah! Really rousing them.
Right.
The best jokes in the history of the world.
Right, those are jokes.
Those are top-notch gags. I mean,
Gaps.
The only thing better, that's a step above the whoopee cushion. But those are both premium bits of comedy.
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
Big thanks, as always, to our best gal, Melissa Vaughn.
Still need to get a hold of her to just say the number 4. Big money, though.
Yeah, I wonder how much that's going to cost.
Melissa Vaughn, since she's skyrocketed to the cosmos of success following her world-renowned work on the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if she's quite affordable anymore for us. For, again, the number 4.
Before we get too into this episode, I want to give a big thanks to our friend Timmy. He showed up at a side gig event the other night. Talked to him for quite a bit. Also, Tony in Lansing. Talked to him for quite a long time about various things, both side gig and podcast related.
Very nice.
Both huge fans. Huge fans. They both said they are bigger fans of this podcast than anything else in life.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And as we know from experience doing this very podcast, when someone tells you that, you can plan on them not listening within the year.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time.
Hey, I get it. There's 52 of these.
Mm-hmm.
Plus when I release a sports tape. Plus if we do a live stream.
Yeah. We need to...
nearly impossible to make that work.
I know we've talked about this a couple of times, but we are just staring down the barrel of being a father of 2.
Yes, you are.
Just 3 months away or so.
Yeah.
So we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the third trimester. We need to, at some point, record that evergreen generic episode.
Right. We don't talk about goings-on in the world.
No.
You'll
I mean, look, those politicians in Washington are crazy.
Yep. How about the gas prices?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And can you believe that weather?
I know. Wild.
And then we cue the music. We grab the rake.
Yeah.
Collect all of our money. Mm-hmm. And we move on to the next one.
I'll tell you, the last week, I don't know what it's been, but it's really hitting me like, whoa, things are about to go bonkers in my life. Things are about to change big time.
I didn't want to take credit, but I will now that you mentioned it.
Okay.
Because I brought this to your doorstep, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Where I brought it up on the podcast again and just said, how are things going? How's she feeling? And And admittedly, we got a bit sidetracked by more important items. Knock hockey.
Yeah.
And your inevitable bachelor pad.
Right.
So as a follow-up to that, for people who are genuinely curious about how things are going, and maybe you discussed this on the radio show, I can't imagine you fitting in there with 4 narcissistic monkeys and being able to get a word in about your lovely bride.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's tough. Them gabbing away about the single life.
Oh, yeah. All they want to do is talk about, how they're all single and dating, and then they look at poor Steve in the back drinking his tea as they're hammering shots of Jameson whiskey on Wednesday morning.
It's such a crazy dynamic because for so many years, for 8 years, I was the only unmarried one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, I'm going to join the gang. I'm going to get married.
Man.
Or not the only married one, but the majority was married. And then I got married and everyone decided, it's time to get divorced.
Yeah, right. Their choice or not. Obviously that's how that goes.
I joke.
Yeah.
It is funny how that dynamic completely shifted, though.
Yeah. For a couple of years, you weren't single, but you and I were the guys going out, hitting the town.
Yeah. Because
drinking.
since I've lived here in Michigan now for 13 years almost. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I moved here in 2009. It's 22. Yeah, almost 13 years. Within a couple of months, it'll be 13 years. I've been in a relationship for all but 8 or 9 months.
I was going to say, less than a year, right?
Yeah. I think my previous relationship ended sometime over the summer, maybe June, July, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And then Annette and I started dating. Actually, Annette and I had our first date 8 years ago today.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Can't be said enough.
Wow, what did you guys do? This was first date post her semi-drunkenly. I don't want to put words or alcohol in her mouth that she already hadn't at that point.
Right.
Was forced or nudged to the stage by her friends, right?
Not even... Look, we've talked about this so many times on the side gig. Annette and I have talked about it, obviously, amongst ourselves. How much is that not like the Annette that you know now?
Sure.
That person.
Well, there was peaks. And I'm glad you brought this up because I think it's finally time I made an admission to you.
Okay. Oh, boy. Is this something? Do we need like a drum roll or something? Because we don't have one.
We don't have the tech. I'm pretty sure I booed when you chose Annette.
Okay. All right. You obviously had another favorite.
For anybody unfamiliar with this
was
it was a dating game blind where you couldn't see them.
Yeah, the original dating game style show from the 70s was you have the bachelor on one side of the partition, you have 3 bachelorettes on the other side. Mm-hmm. I, as the bachelor, ask them questions. Yep. My cohorts on the radio show also threw in a question here and there. I believe that they asked me, the bachelorettes asked me questions back.
Possibly.
I don't remember much. So I never saw them until I eliminated them. So I eliminated the first person. She then walks around the curtain. It's like, oh, this is what could have been.
Right.
Thanks for playing the game. She leaves. Same thing with number 2. And then number 3, or the third person, who is now the winner, she walks around the curtain. It's Annette. Mm-hmm. We have a picture of that exact moment when she walked around the curtain, taken by one of my old coworkers who was seated in like the worst possible seats and had the worst possible phone.
Yeah, no, that's how friends and family and coworkers got tickets to these shows.
Yeah,
was you got wedged in a back corner by the porta potties.
Yeah, you were up there pretty far. But it's cool though because I have a picture of the exact moment that we met, which not a huge deal, but ends up now we're down the line. We're 3 months away from having our second child together after being married for 4.5, almost 5 years. It's a cool memento to have.
Yeah. Your divorce attorney's going to love looking at it.
I know, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome when the inevitable happens because everyone gets divorced, right? I mean, surely you have something similar that will be used in your divorce.
Oh, yeah, she's just going to show pay stubs, and then I'll be living in a box.
Yeah.
Either that or you and I will be sharing a bachelor
Yeah.
pad with air hockey and knock hockey and
Right.
foosball where a bed should
Yeah,
be. Right?
because she, Katie, no doubt makes 4 to 5 times the amount of money you make.
Way more than I make.
What do you get,
And
$6 an hour
going
now?
to barely. I'm begging for tips.
Now, but the thing is, though, the one thing I have learned from everyone I know getting divorced is that no matter what, the guy has to pay a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to work out great for me.
So she'll be in her castle,
yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, I've actually already started. We get large boxes every few months with dog food and items that we get on delivery. I've actually started keeping those, and I've built a mini playhouse
like a fort
for Reed. Yeah. But we all know how this ends.
Yeah.
That's my new living quarters.
Yeah, exactly. You have to keep all that cardboard because the cardboard's going to act as insulation.
Yep.
You think she'll even let you live like out in the backyard?
Well, she might get the cardboard in the divorce. And then I'm really SOL.
Okay.
Because I'm talking bus bench lawyer.
All right.
At best for me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is funny because I don't remember the names, but I kind of remember seeing and observing the 3 women at the dating game that you had 10 years ago. 9 years ago? You just told me.
It was 2014, so it would have been 8 years ago.
Okay, 8 years ago. And
yeah, it was like a year. I think it was like this past Thursday or something.
Okay.
Would have been the 8th anniversary of us meeting.
And one woman began as the crowd favorite until she gave a few answers that weren't crowd pleasers.
Okay.
In terms of where you're going to go on a date, you were going to go buy her an iPhone. Round of booze was the biggest memory I have from that event.
Yeah.
The other woman was the crowd favorite through and through. Her answers seemed to be, punch in the arm, one of the guys type of the answers.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have probably worked on, 8 out of 10 guys who went up there.
Yeah, but it did.
But for you, you're
me.
like, go to a baseball game and then go bowling and then do a cigar bar.
Yeah, that was her. I remember her.
And then
her
finish
answers,
off with a burp contest.
Yeah, her answers were really geared towards, I'm going out with the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, first we're going to go to the football game. Then we're going to go, yeah, exactly. Pounds of beers.
Nice gal.
She seemed very nice, but it was just, I know me. I know that's...
Doesn't fit.
That would have been fun for the first time.
Yeah.
And then...
But then every time you're like, well, now what large event do we need to attend?
Right. I don't want to go to the tailgate.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. But at that point, I was already 33 years old or so. Mm-hmm. I was like, maybe when I was 23, that would have worked.
Have I told you my theory on The Bachelor on this podcast? I believe I may have discussed it.
The Bachelor, like the TV
television program. I feel like The Bachelor at its basic premise would work. I think it's fine. I'm not somebody saying there's one person for everybody out in the world. I think that's dumb and
like
short-sighted.
8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
You could
find
easily find 4 to 5.
Yep. So
love my wife, by the way.
I think
absolutely love her to death.
I think there's a lot to be said though about being in a Tulum, and then your dates are helicopter rides to Egypt for a night.
Yeah.
If The Bachelor were to take my idea,
okay,
and have them go mini golfing, and then the next date is them going to a movie,
and it's like slowly, like incrementally getting better.
Yeah, like you might do a somewhat large item, like maybe you do go to a baseball game or a football game,
or maybe a wine tasting, but you're not going to like France to do it.
Yeah, and you're not going to be a marshal of a parade in a small town.
Right.
Those aren't dates.
No.
So these people, they think they're falling in love when really they're falling in love because they're, being fed dinner in a private cabana beneath the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, exactly. They have their own castle for the night. With what is it called? Like the lover suite or something?
As fireworks blast off for New Year's Eve. Like it doesn't track that's sustainable because then they get home and they ship these 2 idiots off to live together and they're loft in
Boise.
Yeah, they're loft in Boise. And they realize, well, she's got to look for a job because we live in Boise now.
Life's kind of boring now.
Yeah. Hey, maybe they can go out for drinks for, a friend's birthday. And then is one of them looking at their watch going, when's the helicopter coming?
So you're saying that the TV show might set expectations a bit high.
Yeah. I think more of those couples would be married if they went on regular dates, like regular people.
Yeah.
In regular settings.
Yeah, but nobody wants to watch that.
Right, because everybody wants the fairy tale. You don't fall in love with The Bachelor while watching on television by watching him, order a medium steak at the mid-level steakhouse in town.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, for realistic purposes.
You want a realistic dating show of how lame life is for regular people.
Yeah.
And you think people would watch it?
And listen, I'm about to unleash a hot one on you. A real breather of a hot take. I, too, like looking at attractive people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy.
I think we need to get some uggos in there.
Is this a gripe?
I mean, I've laid out.
He's mad. You're about to get an earful. So upset.
He's angry.
Hey, you!
I don't like when...
Kyle's gripe of the week. Gripe.
Thank you so much, Steve. And it's high time we address the television dating world for what it is. It's an unrealistic mess setting terrible expectations for normal-looking people who will never know what that looks like or feels like.
Preach.
Okay? The most I could ever look forward to is a tourist trap-laden helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon from Las Vegas in my cheap hotel room. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, we're not taking an individual canoe down the world's most famous river in France while sipping on their most eloquent wine and having somebody serenade me in French.
Say it, man. Say it. You're saying what everyone is too afraid to say.
Get me someone with a BMI of 35, dating a dude who's bald. All right? And you know what they're doing for their date, Steve?
What are they doing?
They're going to go walk through a corn maze, get pissed at each other once they're too far in and they can't get out. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to go buy some apples on the way out.
Okay.
They're going to go take a nap. And then you know what? She's going to wake up from that nap watching him watch football.
And thinking to herself, that's probably the best I can do.
I'm simply asking for a modicum of realism and normal life for these people. They're already attractive. Do we really need to set this bar that, yes, they're private jet setting to the Scandinavian coast to go hunt yaks on a cave? No, we don't need that. They don't need that. For God's sake, save the marriage rate. Save Steve's marriage.
I guess I didn't know mine was in danger.
I mean, the writing's on the wall.
I think that this originally started with you just simply asking what our first date was.
The road is a long and winding one, so here we are.
Well, we didn't, for our first date, we did not go to the Scandinavian Alps or go elk hunting.
You did not go hunt yaks in a cave.
No.
In the Scandinavian coast. What did you do?
Well, we had plans which ended up not working, so we had to go to our secondary plans. Originally, we had planned to go to a brewery over by my old house that has notoriously excellent pizza. Okay. And I believe that they had a trivia night that night, so we were just going to hang out, have a couple drinks, have some pizza.
It's built in.
Yeah. Have a couple drinks, do some trivia, have some laughs. I got there, or I think I called there that day, and it was like...
After the corner table?
No, I think that...
Did you drop your name?
I forget if I stopped in there or if I called there, but they were like, yeah, we can't get you a table for like 2 hours or something. Like they were really, really busy for whatever reason. So we had a backup plan, which is actually the sweatshirt that I am wearing right now. And we went there. That was where our first date was. We had a blast. I remember it being really weird because I met my wife there. Obviously, her name, Annette. Mm-hmm. While I was there, sitting like right across from us was the only other Annette that I do know in my life.
Oh, no kidding.
So she walked by, And it was like, hey, how are you? So I was like, hey, Annette, this is Annette. And in my mind, freaking out, thinking, I think I forgot my date's name.
Yeah.
And I'm assigning it based on my other friend who's here that has the same name.
So then you're frantically pointing like, no, this is Annette.
Yeah.
You're Annette.
And I'm just
right?
waiting. I'm waiting for that moment for my date to say, like, that's not my name is, Claudia. But luckily got it all right. But she later admitted that she was very confused at that moment too.
Okay.
And thought, like, did he not know his other friend's name?
Right.
And,
Just made the ridiculous error.
And it was by far the best first date I've ever been on.
Very nice.
We had a blast. We sat there for easily 2 hours. Conversation never stopped. It was like there was none of that awkward, like, so, looking at the watch.
Right. Did you have a list in the back of your mind, though? Like, if you sensed a lull, things you're going to ask and bring up. Yeah, I think that's key.
The go-to, like, oh, where'd you grow up and stuff like that. But
like, what do you think on abortion?
Yeah. That's usually my go-to.
Yeah, and then you're like, hey, gun control, am I right? And then if those fail, how about those gas prices?
Yeah. So, you into the sports? You see the game?
You watched the big one last weekend, huh?
Yeah, hoops, right?
Break down the minutia and then really, really get into it.
Yeah, because it would have been during March Madness, so my input on those things is pretty good.
Well, you're lucky. It seems like you didn't need my help, but you had it wrapped up there. With the questions that I would have asked.
Yep.
So.
And then we so that was it was about as perfect of a first date as I think there ever could have been. Mm-hmm. And then we went out like 3 or 4 more times that week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was pretty quick. It was pretty quick when we I think we both kind of realized, like, all right, there's a little something here.
You both realized too, 30 and
yeah, exactly. Like this look.
Ask her, get off the pot, am I right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't know. What more do you need?
Right. I mean,
does she plan on strangling you? Doesn't seem like it.
My local celebrity status is only going to get me so far.
Right. And, maybe if you sense a little waning interest, you do the old to the wait staff.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're going to recognize you.
Toots!
Again, everybody knows and recognizes out and about the 4th banana on the Monkey Cast.
Uh-huh.
I believe I bumped you up a chair. I think last week I referred to you as 5th banana.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, it's constantly, it's a very fluid situation. Constantly moving.
Chairs rotate.
Yeah.
Things move.
Look, did I have the good fart joke this week?
Right.
I'm number 4.
Right. Did you have the good dick story?
I could be up to number 2.
Did yours leave the crew just staring at you, having to pick up the pieces of a demolished segment?
Right. I mean,
Back
I would
down
love
to
to.
5.
Yeah. Sometimes make it all the way up to number 1. But then, since you say number 1, then there's a pee joke.
Right. And then you're back down because someone just made the awesome pee joke.
It's just it's a constantly evolving thing.
Sounds like a hostile work environment to me. But listen, I'm glad you're able to make it out of there with a wife in tow.
Yeah. With a wife,
by
a
playing
kid,
anywhere between
almost a second.
1st and 5th banana on the Monkey Cast. And we're almost 2 kids in.
Yeah. It's hitting me, though. I think it's really hitting me.
I bet, and everything's still going good.
Everything's great.
We saw you guys last night. I know we don't break bread weekly or monthly, but we do like to get together when we can.
Yeah,
and
that was a nice.
Like she was doing well.
It was a very nice surprise getting the text yesterday saying, "Hey, we're grabbing a drink at a local place that has some igloos set up." And
well, the first 4 bananas couldn't make it, so
right, yeah. So you asked all of them first.
No, not them.
Oh.
My first 4 bananas.
Your first 4 bananas. Okay.
Yeah.
So. I'd be surprised if you invited my bananas.
Yeah, no. Oh, God, no. You couldn't pay me to text them now. I might have to pay to text them. Is that what you guys do over there?
Yep. Yeah, $10 a text.
I ain't paying to listen to no radio show. You used to love those emails and angry people when we're not charging you to listen to the radio show. We're charging you to listen to it on demand whenever you want.
Yeah. Also, it's okay. You don't need to.
That's totally fine. Not begging you. Giving you the option. Just a very weird reaction.
Always.
But yeah, she looked
and
like
it just pisses people off more when you just say, okay.
Yeah, because they in turn want you to turn around and say, well, how about I give it to you for free anyway?
This is we got a lot of the customer is always right people.
Yeah, that's not true.
That is not true.
Very incorrect.
At all.
Yeah.
And,
no way.
No, we do not subscribe to that philosophy. So
when you get enough of them, you can isolate a bunch. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We really make sure we alienate and then eventually kick out by force.
Yeah.
The handful we don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
So
look, we know what we're doing. We know exactly what we're doing here.
But it's hitting you. I mean, it's got to be hitting a net to the point because I don't know if this is an open secret, and if it is, we can cut it out here.
Right.
You guys have talked to you only want or desire 2 children.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's always been the plan. I think I've always been pretty stuck on 2. Mm-hmm. I know for a while, like at the beginning, like when we first started dating, or maybe when we got married, like the idea of 3 was tossed around, but I think we're both pretty happy with 2. But every now and then she'll say something, like she'll see a picture of Evelyn when she was 2 months old and just tiny and making those adorable baby noises that you completely forget existed, and she'll say something like, maybe I'll do 3. What do you think? What do you think about 3?
Yeah, but talk to her like July 5th.
Yeah.
2 weeks into number 2.
Yep.
And then I
number
think
2, not to be confused with poop.
Fart joke. And I wonder if she'll come back down to the idea of 2.
I think I mean, like with anything, sure, I won't completely rule it out, but I think with anything else in life, it's just going to be let's just see how this goes.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Because with Evelyn, we've been very lucky. She's been just a pretty carefree, easy child to raise so far. I know.
Right. As she approaches 3.
Yeah. Could all change at any moment.
You're in a good spot, though, too, or in a unique spot, because you guys are playing 1950s house, where Big Bacon.
Big Papa Bacon, yeah.
So you're going to start coming home at like
Papa
6
Benjamins.
o'clock and take the top hat off and
my fedora.
Spin it towards the hat rack.
Yep.
Take off your long coat.
Yeah.
Again, it's June. And
be pissed if she's not meeting me at the door with my scotch.
You're now going to start carrying a briefcase.
Yeah.
So, you're expecting a drink, a newspaper, and a cigar as you walk in the door.
And just nothing but quiet time.
Yep. And then, Evelyn knows to leave Big Bacon Daddy. Because calling you Big Bacon Steve would just be rude.
Yeah, Big Bacon Daddy.
Big Bacon Daddy alone for the first hour, and to definitely not wake him up from his nap.
The first thing you can say to me is, "Good night, Daddy."
And then you go back to work the next day.
Because I'm holding the paper up in front of my face,
right.
and then I do that thing where I kind of fold it down.
Yeah, fold it out.
Yeah. Flip it back up.
And then you go to work the next day and tell everybody how hard parenting is.
Yeah.
And how they don't understand.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much how I see it going.
That's good. I mean, are you nervous yet? Are you, or again? Is that still a little bit ways away because you're 3 months out yet?
No, I think it's just anxious. It's I'm not nearly as bad. Like, I'm sure that you remember before Reed was born, just like
awful.
Every single thing that happens, you think, how is this going to affect my child?
Yeah.
Not that as much. Because back then it was a lot of prepping. Oh, we need to get this. We need to get this.
Right, you're getting rooms ready and items and clothing.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Now at this point, like, I don't know, half the stuff that Evelyn wore when she was a baby was hand-me-downs from our nephew. Right. So we already have all of the stuff that we need. Sure. We don't need to go out and get the next latest and greatest gizmo that is guaranteed to make a baby happy or not cry, or we don't need the new bed or Bumbo or Binky or Bouncy or whatever.
You've got the leftover stuff.
Got it all.
You don't need as much. So now it's just wait
around. Yeah, we're just waiting for. We had painted the 2 downstairs bedrooms because Evelyn's going to be moving into one of them, and we figured since we were doing that one, may as well do the one across the hall too, because that's like the guest room.
Sure.
So We're just waiting for carpet to get installed so we can move the furniture back in. That won't be happening for about 2 weeks, though. So we're in this weird, this limbo phase where I want to do all this stuff, but I can't really do it because I'm not going to move furniture back in just to then
take it back
move
out.
it back out.
Yeah.
And have to move it back in.
Well, these projects being done and being done for you leads me to the question that I don't have time to get to today, so I want to next week ask you if there's an update on what I think is the only big project in your life then, the Comanche.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't even want you to tease.
Okay.
Because I don't want to then, because once you tease it, the
You're gonna have
snowball starts and I start
yeah.
questioning, and so I don't know anything about what's going on.
Yeah.
I haven't asked you in a while. I like to give the audience and me a bit of an update every now and again on the Comanche project as child number 2 approaches.
Look, tomorrow's #Manchi Monday.
Yep.
Maybe if you're following me, you'll see an update on that.
Let me see. I'm just going to pull up.
Oh,
the
no. You don't need to do that.
Second.
You don't need to do that at all.
Chance Jeeps.
No.
Are we in? We're in the second full year, third full year of you owning the Comanche.
Bought it in 2020.
Okay, so you're in the second full year of having the Comanche, and it looks like you updated 4 weeks ago. That's not that bad,
and that's not even about the Comanche.
Oh, you're in a tough. You're in a spot. You're a parent. You're working. You're doing all these things. I'm sure the time will free up here come June, July. You'll have more of it to go around. So next week, pen that in for the A-bit. Steve, I need an update on how things are going.
Okay.
With you and the Comanche.
Hey, no problem.
We have some things we need to get to. I'm going to list them off to you to see if we need to cut any of them as we talk time here. We need to get to Steve's 1-minute Marvel movie reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
For 4 weeks now, I've bumped Annette on her thoughts on Phase 1 and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think I should do my review first, and then we bring Annette in.
We also have polls from about 3 weeks to get to.
All right.
And we also have results for round 1, the Throaty 2 of 2022 Poll Badness.
Why don't we get to... let's do some of those poll recaps first.
Perfect.
We'll get to them, and then we'll get to the Marvel movie review. We'll bring Annette in and close out with some of the updates from the polls.
Time to see how wrong everyone else is. It's poll recap time. Find the polls at Steve and Kyle on Twitter.
That's right. None today yet so far, so that's a nice little.
Oh, that's a surprise.
I have
usually
to scroll.
we're like 6 deep at this point.
Yeah, some weeks we're just not very funny.
Yeah,
you know.
Sometimes the conversation is just too in depth.
And if I remember, I believe we are 3 or 4 weeks behind. Let me go back and ask if these results sound familiar to you.
They won't. There's no chance that they will sound familiar.
If these are repeats, I do apologize. If you win the lottery, do you have your butler drive past your workplace so you can heave a box of belongings out the window?
Absolutely. Anyone who says
71% of the audience said yes.
Okay.
Is your butler your driver?
I mean, I guess if you're barely rich.
Right. If you're fake rich.
Like if you're looking to save a couple bucks.
76% of the audience said no. Makes sense. If you're rich, you have 2 separate.
Yeah.
Is air hockey a Tier 1 bachelor pad amenity? 64% of the audience said yes. Is knock hockey culturally insensitive?
Oh, no.
56% of the audience said no. No, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, good. Good.
Is a pool table or air hockey more intriguing in the bachelor pad? 58% of the audience said pool table.
Okay.
Is knock hockey due to suffer the same fate as lawn darts? 80% of the audience said yes. If Steve spends 1 second building a knock hockey table this week, is he single by the weekend? 87% of the audience said yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there anything more refreshing than a July chili? 55% of the audience said no.
And you got to say it like that, too.
Yeah.
July chili.
Has a garage sale ever been worth it?
No.
55% of the audience said no. Is mommy worse than every cat call ever? 83% of the audience said yes. I scroll here to get to our next week of polls. Someone with their Christmas lights up, you bunch of dirtbags. Did Kyle's ounce of shaming make Steve take down his Christmas lights? 59% of the audience said yes.
It's in the back of my head.
Is spring the worst? 57% of the audience said no. You're wrong. Spring is the worst. I'd rather have winter than spring. If you find an exercise bike hidden in your backyard from your previous owners, were they garbage people?
Oh, yeah.
90% of the audience said yes.
Yeah.
Is closing on a home but allowing the people to still live there the weirdest thing about real estate?
Yeah.
77% of the audience said yes. Does Steve actually want a dream home? 63% of the audience said no.
Really?
I mean, what would you do?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It'd be great.
Yeah, you'd find something. You'd go punch a wall on
I
accident.
would. I mean, I'd decide that I had to run electrical up the chimney or something.
Do you get upset at weirdness by your neighbors? 58% of the audience said yes. I'm glad to have you on board. If you're getting a sauna, do you want the OG?
What?
69% of the audience said yes.
69, right?
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Can you give your pastor or reverend a timeout signal? I do not remember
Padre.
that. I don't remember that.
Let's put the brakes on
whatsoever.
this.
But 70% of the audience said yes. Should Steve or Kyle become a hot tub guy?
I had a hell of an offer from a friend of the show, Leanne, who
Yeah.
we spoke to last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe. She offered to send the hot tub to our P.O. box.
Just a little slip of paper saying we got a package that didn't fit.
Didn't quite fit.
76% of the audience said yes. I have a feeling that was heavily influenced by Leanne. Thor, dumber than a box of rocks, but a big old slice of man meat? 81% of the audience said yes.
Okay.
Up to last week now, finally, Steve. If you need a tarp, do you need a glove?
In most cases, I think so.
61% of the audience agrees. Says yes. If you're on Martha's Vineyard, do you have to have a backup bow tie? 77% of the audience said yes. Should you mix Jaeger and Sprite?
Oh, no.
The deadly combination that did Steve in 1 week ago yesterday.
Oh, boy. That was bad. Tony in Lansing, by the way, DM'd me on Instagram after I saw him on Friday night. He stayed out much later, and he sent me a picture of him doing a shot of Jaeger, and he said it was like in my honor or something.
What a mongrel.
I just replied, I was like, what have you done to yourself?
Make you gag from a phone.
No.
Well, 69% of the audience said no.
Sex.
Is there anything better than unexpected breakfast?
No.
73% of the audience said no.
Nothing at all.
Sure, Annette and Evelyn would have agreed. Does the whoopee cushion lead off fart hour, or does it belong in dick hour so nobody sees it coming?
I could go either way on this one.
A nail biter.
Really?
53% of the audience says leave it in fart hour. Those are your polls.
Oh, those were beautiful. Man, no polls this week. That's crazy. Although we still got a little time left, so we could get to it. Should we get to my 1 minute movie review?
Yeah, let's do it, Steve. It is time as we move our way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, what did I watch last night? I watched 2014's
That's right.
Guardians of the Galaxy. This was this one was very highly rated, right?
Yes.
This one
this one was met with skepticism because Marvel characters, a lot of them are known. Most people would know Spider-Man without the Spider-Man movies or be aware of him. Same with Superman, etc. Not many people, even comic book based, are familiar with the Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of history, but not as much as a lot of those main characters. So James Gunn took the reins on this one, Steve, and I am excited to hear your thoughts on the space heavy 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right, Peter's mom dies. He's pretty sad. He runs outside to cry. He gets abducted by aliens. Chris Pratt, who is playing Peter, he stole an orb or something and passed it off and pissed off a blue guy. So he gets a bounty on his head. Then a raccoon and a tree are chasing him. A green chick tries to steal the orb unsuccessfully. Then they all get arrested, sent to prison. But now they're going to team up because they want to bust out of prison. There is so much space. The orb has an infinity stone in it. I guess that's really powerful or something. Some collector guy wants to buy the orb, but the slave chick who looks like Meadow Soprano grabs it, and then everything blows up. Ronan gets the stone. He's a bad guy, by the way. Drax, he wants to fight the dude who killed his family, so he's out for blood. Gamora's sister tries to kill her, but Peter, or Star-Lord, saves her. Yeah, nice nickname to give to yourself, Chris Pratt, you idiot. What are you doing? I thought I had it. All right, back in. Here we go. Now they need to get the stone back from Ronan. How? Well, with a prepping for battle montage, of course. Boy, this is exciting. Lots of fighting, lots of explosions, lots of space. They get the stone back. Groot grows really big. He's a tree, by the way. He grows really big, makes himself into like a bubble around everybody to keep them safe. The ship crashes. Groot is now a dead tree. Everyone is sad. The blue dude wants the stone, but Peter switches it out and gives him a fake. Peter finally opens the package from his mom from like 30 years ago. She gave him a mixtape. Pretty lame. And that was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow. As usual, I mean, not much you missed. You really hammered it home there.
Yeah.
Star-Lord, the tree, the raccoon.
Yeah.
Don't call him a raccoon. He gets very offended when you call him a raccoon.
Rocky, right?
Rocket.
Rocky's
pretty close.
Rocky Raccoon, that's a Beatles song. A little bit different.
People loved this one. So it's the mix of the humor, the action, the direction. James Gunn, this really launched James Gunn into directorial superstardom. People love the way he plays music into his movies. The soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy was a gigantic chart topper back in 2014.
Well, it was a lot of
old songs.
A lot of 70s and 80s hits.
Yes, which is because that's the only thing that Peter has to remember his mother by, who passed away on Earth. I've been very curious. This is the one I've been waiting for, Steve.
Okay.
I've been more curious than I care to discuss about your thoughts and your final review on 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy.
The best part about this movie was the music.
Oh, no.
Seriously? People liked this?
Oh, no.
It was... The elements of humor were funny. But I couldn't have been less interested in the space parts. And that seems to be the recurring theme throughout all of my reviews. Man. I don't like space.
This one hurts.
Yeah.
This launched Chris Pratt into male hunkdom.
Chris Pratt? I mean, deservedly so. You look at Parks and Rec, Chris Pratt. He's definitely looking a little bit better in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm not surprised. I had high hopes that though you would have watched this and then left it going, hey, not a space fan or of the sci-fi parts of these movies, but boy were these characters lovable. Boy were they unique and fun. The way Rocket and Groot played off each other, and
I liked some of the interactions. I don't like a talking raccoon at all. Not a fan of that. Drax, I thought was cool because there was kind of an evolution of him throughout the movie. He starts off as just super, super mean dude, hates everything, but by the end, you can tell he's developed some kind of feelings and, kindred spirits, familial relations with the rest of the crew. But overall, not a fan. Not a fan.
You have really thrown the Marvel Universe for loops with your not hatred of Thor the Dark World. You're pretty much in agreement with everybody on the Incredible Hulk as you rated dismal garbage. Mm-hmm. You're into the real meat and potatoes of the Marvel Universe now. It's going to really start ramping up. You're introducing more characters, but now you're coming back for the second and third helpings of Captain America, but then you introduce Doctor Strange. And then you're coming back to the Guardians of the Galaxy after Spider-Man's been introduced. And then another outing with Thor. So there's a long way to go. You're in it now. Mm-hmm. As you are, I'm sorry, this was your 10th outing.
10th, yeah. I can't believe I've watched 10 movies this calendar year.
I know, right? I mean, at home, but you know.
Yeah. But I mean, it is Sunday, March 20th, 2022, the year of our Lord, the Stephen Kyle podcast. 10 movies in. That's the most movies I've ever watched in a short span of time like this, by far.
So the Guardians of the Galaxy this week, again, this was hot on the heels of your review last week of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. You know, it's funny. Most of the time I have a little note with my review on it, but this week I didn't. Give me a minute. Pause. I enjoyed the action, but I am not a fan of Bucky, although I do have a glimmer of hope because in one of the post-credits scene, Bucky goes to the museum, and I kind of saw a glimmer in his eye that he's trying to remember who he really is.
Yeah.
You really tightened that up this week.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that, as it was able to fit in one cell on the spreadsheet. So
it's weird when I'm watching these movies. If they're like, I go on this emotional roller coaster, which I guess that speaks very highly to the movie.
That's the point.
But when it's heavy space stuff and like really heavy aliens and like blue people and green people and stuff that I'm not like, I don't know. I just feel myself. I feel this weight on me of like, this is difficult to watch. But as soon as the sun comes out, or they're, you know, in a happier place, or they're in a like a brighter place, I like it more.
Okay, boy, you are going to hate the DC movies when we tackle that later this year, because not an ounce of light among them.
But those are all based on Earth, right?
Sure, Atlantis, underwater, Aquaman, Earth. Sure.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, Aquaman is Earth, just underwater in a kingdom. But
underwater, I still think is going to be better than space.
I mean, Superman. You're talking aliens, but it's on Earth, so you're right. You're correct there. Batman versus Superman. That's on Earth. Justice League, Earth mixed, space. Wonder Woman, Earth. Even though a lot of it's a different hidden country. The country. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll get there. Very dark. Very dark.
So we are doing all of those too?
Well, this is your idea. So you wanted to do the DC movies after this.
Yeah. I think I might have to take a little bit of time off.
Okay. Well, listen, we have weeks to go. Weeks to go.
I'm going to have to double up, or else this baby's going to be here before.
There's no way you're beating the baby.
Because these are, I still have
if
18
I have
more?
I only have our chart out to Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's May 31st, on the May 31st episode of this.
And then there's still 6 movies after that?
Yeah, you have quite a bit still after that.
All right, might have to start doubling up.
Or, babies aren't that hard. Yeah, you're fine.
They are pretty simple.
It'll be nice, you can spend some of your free time with your wife, which is going to be even more limited than it is now, and say, hey, hon, do you want to sit down with me and watch the new Doctor Strange?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she can say, I'm going to bed. See you tomorrow. Yeah, so Ant-Man and the Wasp will leave there. That's May 31st. So the end of June will bring us to Black Widow, which is 2021. Okay. 2021 release.
Oh, boy.
But then we're still, that Black Widow, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll have 5 movies after Black Widow.
And that came out in 2021?
Yes. You'll have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange 2, Thor Love and Thunder, which comes out in theaters. Oh, yeah.
How does that...
Steve, you have so much to learn.
That's not the same universe.
You stupid idiot.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
There's a Spider-Man movie in the Marvel...
One? 3.
I thought that he was another guy. Wasn't he DC?
You goddamn simpleton.
Seriously, my mind is blown right now. Isn't he DC?
You're thinking Batman.
So Spider-Man is only...
Spider-Man's Marvel.
Spider-Man's Marvel.
A tentpole of the Marvel Universe.
And he hasn't been in any of the movies up until the 25th?
There were a lot of rights issues.
So what about
Sony has owned the
what about like the
cinematic
Tobey
rights.
Maguire Spider-Man?
Sony.
So that's not a Marvel...
You stupid piece of garbage. I can't believe you're sitting here with your dumb face and your dumber mouth and talking to me about the Tobey. You're just so stupid. But anyway, yeah, those are coming up.
Huh.
I'm so excited.
So is there a movie where like Iron Man and Spider-Man are hanging out?
I'll say this. If you don't like the Spider-Man's inclusion and especially the standalone movies in the Marvel Universe, this podcast is over.
Well, seeing as how I seem to like all the ones everyone else hates,
right,
and hate all the ones everyone else likes.
And Spider-Man is a different character in general. I mean, you're looking, he's not a super serum soldier from World War II frozen in ice. He's not a billionaire with a heart injury that he needs an orb in his chest.
Look,
he's a teenage kid who is, trying to hide his identity and
he's got radioactive blood.
That's right. Does whatever a spider can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As we have a family affair.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we decided that after 10 movies,
That's right.
we were going to bring my lovely wife Annette in.
That's right.
I think you have a couple of questions for her.
Yeah, I do. I have just general ideas because when you started watching these, you said she was kind of absorbing some of them by osmosis. So maybe not carving the time out like you were, but kind of seeing it as they played.
Right. For her, it's been much more background noise.
Yeah. Oh, I can relate.
As she was working
Yeah.
In Cricket Corner.
Sure.
And,
I can relate. I mean, I do this with Katie when she used to watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Love is Blind on Netflix. All of these things. So, Annette, your husband has some real interesting takes on the first half of the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. Have you found yourself, my first question, have you found yourself enjoying them even by proxy, not focusing, not paying attention? Intrigued?
No, in general, no.
What?
No.
You haven't found yourself like, I'll stop, making this design for, Billy in South Dakota to send off to him. And I need to see the last 20 minutes of Iron Man 2.
The Iron Man, I forget which one, honestly, but one of them was okay. And I think I'd seen it before. Mm-hmm. So, I liked the actor. I like Gwyneth Paltrow.
So you were, okay. You were there for Goop. You weren't there for Robert Downey, the resurgence.
Right. So yeah, that one was okay. Most of the other ones, not so much. Last night, I came down halfway through whatever that was.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was something.
What? I need... The internet for years has told me, and I'm not the correct judge on this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you observe any of the Thor movies that Steve has watched?
Yes.
Okay. So
the first one mostly, I think.
Okay, so there was a lot of his brother, the villain, Loki.
Yeah.
Is Loki a sex symbol?
No.
Women love him. Like it's insane. I need to know. I thought maybe I was the only one.
Oh.
I'm sure he's a nice man. I'm not
no,
calling
in
him
the
ugly.
Movies, he's not nice.
Well,
he's terrible.
Tom Hiddleston
and
as
I
a man.
will call him very not attractive.
Really?
He's got greasy, stringy black hair and pale skin.
That was my thought.
Okay, yeah.
I don't understand it, but people have fallen in love with Tom Hiddleston since he started playing. I mean, that's what made him really famous, was being in the Marvel Universe. Any other takeaways? Did you tune into Captain America and fall asleep and say, I don't need to see anything more of him? Or were you like, whoa, Chris Evans, how about him?
Oh, no, he's nice to look at. He's not my favorite, really, but he's okay.
I'm glad you opened that door.
Oh.
We got Robert Downey Jr.
No.
We got Chris Hemsworth. We've got Tom Hiddleston. We've got Chris Evans. And now, Chris Pratt. in Guardians of the Galaxy. Who's the biggest hunk of man meat in the Marvel Universe?
Well, I like Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec.
Right, but Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec wasn't the looker. Right? He was chunky guy, silly, goofy hair, like known as being an idiot, right?
Sure.
He wasn't attractive when they show him in Guardians of the Galaxy. He takes his shirt off, I believe, and now, hey, magical abs.
I must have missed that. All I saw was a talking raccoon and some other weird things. I don't know. I don't know. I missed a bunch of it, and yeah.
So you haven't found yourself trying to carve a little bit of time out when you know Steve's going to be watching some of these to say, maybe I'll sit and watch them with you.
No, I mostly avoid it, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And honestly, it has kind of ruined weekends for me, so I'm kind of upset with you guys.
Well, listen, this was his idea. He's been badgering me for the better part of a year, saying, I want to watch these because I want to know what everybody knows and talks about.
Right.
And even weeks ago, he told me he was going to start watching them during the week.
I wish that would happen.
And I think he did it once.
We have no us time. And these movies are killing us time.
That's what I was just talking about as I was making a joke before you came down about him as your together time will become even more limited upon baby number 2. I can't wait for him to pitch to you, hey, hun, want to sit downstairs and watch Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No. Nope.
So it sounds like the midweek viewings may have to come back into the limelight here, Steve.
I don't
Starting
think
this week.
They were
That's
never
right.
in the limelight. It's always been weekends.
He's watched one during the week, I believe.
Yeah.
One. I texted him, and then he said...
Well, I think we watched one together during... Like, we started something, because I remember Rusty was painting, and we were sitting down to watch
Oh, boy. Watch one of these in front of Rusty.
He seems to like him.
Prepare for a diatribe.
Okay.
Love that guy to death. No other takeaways. Nothing that's intrigued you that you'd be like, hey, I'd like to see... I didn't hate that. I'd watch the next movie of so-and-so, or if a character was included.
No, I keep asking Steve, is this one supposed to be good? And he's like, I don't think so. So I keep avoiding it.
Again, these are trillions of dollars these movies have made. And I'm talking to the two people who are like,
Yeah.
At least I've seen them now, though.
yeah, right. You're getting on board.
Yeah.
You're getting on board. Well, okay. I appreciate your time.
Yep.
I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought maybe they'd hooked you.
Nope.
I thought there was something. Maybe you were watching, Thor come down with his hammer off the, as Steve called it, the Rainbow Road. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, how cool is that guy?
No, not for me.
But you remain, as you described, bored and wondering if these are supposed to be good.
Bored and annoyed, yeah. Bored and annoyed.
We're going to find it.
Okay.
We're going to find that cross-section, Steve, to where it's going to be this pop culture thing, and you guys are going to enjoy it just like the rest of the world. You're kind of running counterculture to it,
I know, but I've talked about it many times. I don't want to be devil's advocate guy. I don't want to be the contrarian who's like, everyone likes it, but not me. I hate it.
And in fairness, you haven't hated hardly any of these. The Incredible Hulk, which the world seems to dislike. And
yeah, it wasn't great.
Now the Guardians of the Galaxy you didn't like.
And even with the Incredible Hulk, it's not even because obviously there was the character change, because I liked the character. I just didn't think that it was a very good movie.
Wow.
So I hope people are on board with my reviews here. I hope that I'm not pissing off everybody. I guess it's just the one thing I'm realizing is sci-fi. And I've always kind of known this, that sci-fi is just not my thing.
But Earth-based sci-fi, so like a science-based
Earth-based, because I look at something like Iron Man, which I've really enjoyed, versus something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which I didn't enjoy that much. With the Iron Man stuff, it's like it's a regular guy, but he's like it's techie and sciencey.
Yeah, You're on the doorstep of more sciencey Earth-based with Ant-Man in 2 weeks.
Okay. Is that Paul Rudd?
That is Paul Rudd.
All right. I like Paul Rudd.
The evergreen, always young, always handsome. Paul Rudd enters your universe in 2 weeks as the titular Ant-Man. Next week, though, 2015.
You mean tomorrow?
Oh, that's right. I'll text you tomorrow.
I'm going to knock this out tomorrow.
Next week on this podcast, Steve, you're going to be reviewing the second entry where they all come together. Avengers. Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron.
That's
did I like
coming
the
up.
original? What did I say about the Avengers?
I'm glad you asked. I have it pulled up for us. Heavy nose breath. Loki ruins everything.
Oh. Okay.
So,
yeah. Because
take that how
that
you
was
will.
when we first... No, that's not when we first met. Because we first met Loki in Thor.
In Thor, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. He was the main villain in the Avengers.
Okay. All right.
That's coming up next week. I'd be curious if anybody out there has been following along to the best of their ability, maybe on their very first viewing, which I doubt it. You seem to be kind of a rare breed in that regard. Or their rewatch. I'd be curious to hear how that's going for people as they follow along, and if they're shouting at their radios or their phones as they listen to Steve review these, calling people raccoons and poverty hulks.
Well, he is a raccoon.
I mean, he's raccoon-based, Steve, and it's a big... I mean, come on. I mean, don't stop offending Rocket. Voiced by my main man, Bradley Cooper. Fine effort there.
Was he really?
Yes.
That was Bradley Cooper.
And Groot?
That's
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, yeah.
Yeah, Vin
Yeah, because I
Diesel.
remember reading something last week where it broke down like how much money he made.
Yes.
He made like trillions of dollars, and all he said was, "I am Groot," and then one time, "We are Groot."
Yeah, and then in different... Yeah, it's quite a gig if you can get it.
Yeah.
We are well past what we like to wrap this up at, Steve, but we don't have a choice
No,
this
actually,
week.
we're not because
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Our
Timer's off.
timer's a little bit off
That's off.
today. I think it's off by about 12 minutes or so.
But apologies to Robert if we just lost you.
Apologies to Robert. So sorry.
We have to recap
So
and
sorry.
look ahead to 2022 poll badness.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Just one stanza too long, I think.
Yeah. We got hit with a copyright thing last week because of this.
What?
Yeah. Just on YouTube. So the two people that watched it there.
Literally our backup. Yeah. So if something happens when we lose our files, they are on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
If you care to listen to us there, you can.
All right,
Steve,
So this is the Throaty 2.
The Throaty 2, the homage to the first incarnations of this very bracket we've done now, I believe 5 times? I believe we did
Something like
2
that.
throat
Yeah.
goblin tournaments, and now this is our second
I could check it
poll
out,
tournament as well. We had some barn burner matchups as well as some record-setting
I believe this is
performances.
the 4th, by the way. We did
Okay.
the Steve 16 in 2018,
Yep.
the Throaty 2 in 2019,
Took 2020 off.
and then, Poll Badness last year, Poll Badness this year.
Perfect. We had some record-setting performances.
Did we?
Some nail-biters, Steve.
Okay.
In the first round of the Throaty 2. We're going to kick it off this week with in the patently absurd side of the bracket. Mm-hmm. We had number 1 seed, where Biblical Time Gifts sticks with faces carved in them and pears, versus number 8, our Slurpers, also Front Yard Parkers. In a closer result than I thought would happen. Maybe some vulnerability here with the number 1 seed, where Biblical Time Gifts sticks with faces carved in them and pears advances with 54.8%
Wow,
of the
that's
vote.
close. I thought that would be a runaway.
A near upset taking place there. They will take on the winner of the 4 seed. Do you have to wait for 10 years of friendship to break the soup wall? Which took on, have you ever seen Olivia Newton-John and Meatloaf in the same room? A nice matchup. Another close one. The number 4 seed. Do you have to wait for 10 years of friendship to break the soup wall? Advances with 55% of the vote. So the round 2 matchup all set there. The number 1 seed versus the number 4 seed, where Biblical Time Gifts sticks with faces carved in them and pears, will take on the winner of waiting 10 years of friendship to break the soup wall. The bottom half of that bracket, the number 3 seed, do you have to knock 3 times to get the wirer, is taking on the number 6 seed. If a space mission fails, so they have to jettison themselves into the sun. Handily winning there, do you have to knock 3 times to get the wirer, 68.4%. Vote for that. The number 3 seed advances into the Senseless 16.
I love the names of the...
The very bottom of this bracket, the 2 versus 7, Steve. Nothing to see here. Handy victory. Would Second Chance Jeeps be more interesting if it were helping Jeeps through alcohol and narcotic addiction? Advances easily with 67.5% of the vote. Over does Bobcat refer to himself as a jokesmith? The patently absurd Senseless 16 corner is all set there with the 1 versus 4 seed and the 3 versus the 2 seed. We'll get to those next week. Those polls will be up. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Steve and Kyle. We move down to What the division with the number 1 seed. Again, nothing to see here. All chalk is what we refer to it in the sports talk biz, Steve.
Sure.
Number 1 seed is Jimmy, the Bangladeshi bullet shooter, only at the Olympics to plow people like Veronica, the New Zealand pole vaulter. Nothing to see. Handily, 78% of the vote, beating the number 8 seed. If you're an envelope and terror, do you belong in prison? Mm-hmm. They will take on the winner of the number 4 seed, Canucks, bunch of sneaky SOBs, and the number 5 seed, Obituaries. Enough already? This was a tough one. Yeah. I didn't want to see either of these teams lose.
That's a really good matchup.
And in a very minor upset, number 5 seed, Obituaries, enough already. With 52.6% of the vote, it's going to advance to take on what looks to be a possible juggernaut. Is Jimmy, the Bangladeshi bullet shooter, only at the Olympics to plow people like Veronica, the New Zealand pole vaulter. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to keep saying that with one breath.
That's tough.
It's a nice vocal exercise.
I'm really impressed.
Bottom half of this bracket, I mentioned it beforehand. Some record-setting performances, Steve.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I haven't looked at any of these results, by the way. I like to be surprised just like everyone else.
Widest margin of victory in the history of this tournament.
Whoa. So you went back and looked at some past results.
I pulled some data.
Okay.
The number 3
You got
seed.
spreadsheets for that?
Oh, yeah. And I punched it into an Excel app sheet, sent it to the accountants over at Bean Gardner, just like they do at the Oscars. The number 3 seed is Annette's Etsy shop, just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve. Took on the number 6 seed. Is it a prerequisite for a drummer to be a juggler? With 92.5% of the vote.
Wow. Say that again?
92.5% of the vote.
That's quite a bit.
An absolute demolishment. The number 3 seed moves on.
Wow.
Is Annette's Etsy shop, just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve. They're going to take on, and I don't know what to think of this next matchup, because they're going to take on the winner. Again, a big victory here. The number 2 seed is 94.3 K-Rock, where the Rock Rocks, the Rock Station's Rock Station, is going to move on with 75% of the vote, Steve.
I love that one.
Beating is Tammy Hilfiger, the lesser-known cousin of Tommy Hilfiger.
Naturally.
Setting up a real chance for a run here with this number 2 and number 3, the Etsy shop and 94.3 K-Rock. Sadly, though,
Rock Rocks.
Where the Rock Rocks, the Rock Station's Rock Station. Sadly, one of those is going to go home in the Senseless 16.
Boy, oh boy.
They're not going to be advancing. We'll find those out next week. We're going to move over to the Asinine bracket, or the Asinine division. Number 1 seed, and I mentioned nail biters. And the last number 1 seed was in a nail biter there we just talked about. Number 1 seed, are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy? Taking on number 8, should a neighbor's rocks, quote, be all up in your business?
That's one of my favorite ones.
51.5% of the audience.
Nail biter indeed.
Has the number 1 seed advancing. Are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy?
Okay. All right.
They're going to be taking on the winner of the 4-5 matchup here. The number 4 seed's going to advance. Does it get any whiter than Papa Benjamin's? 68.8% of the vote. Defeating relatively easily is Steve's 40-day diet program sponsored by Jesus. I would accuse the religious section of our audience forgetting the show there for a moment. But last year, the Pole Badness 2021 champion was, did the apostles chisel the word boobs into rocks? So I think there's just something to be said about Steve, Big Bacon Steve, a.k.a. Papa Benjamin's, moving on to take on the number 1 seed. Are you more of a fart guy or a dick guy? The bottom half of this division, number 3 seed, moving on. Do Flat Earth and Salsa go hand in hand? I want this thing to advance to the Final Four, and I never want to know the context. I could go back and look at what we were talking about.
No.
I choose not to.
Don't you do it.
That defeats, as Andrew Dice Clay, basically an aggressive masseuse with 71.9% of the vote. They're going to take on the 2 versus 7 matchup, the winner here. Would you tune into Fruit Boot and Shoot at the Olympics?
Oh, love that one.
56.6% of the vote, Steve. They're moving on.
Wait, what seed was Fruit Boot and Shoot again?
Number 2.
Okay.
And they defeated the number 7 seed, should amputees get a discount on clothing. And that's 56.6% of the audience. A few close matchups there. The number 1 seed and number 2 seed facing some competition.
Yeah.
The number 3 and the number 4 in all of these brackets seem to be moving on relatively easily.
Yeah.
Interested to see how the senseless 16 pans out for all these matchups. And the last bracket. Are they serious? This division, the number 1 seed, does the wind have to be just right to hear the cries of the spirits of the drywall? 60.7% of the audience advancing the number 1 seed, defeating is Mr. Belvedere, a top 5 British person. Nothing to see here. The number 1 seed's moving on.
Mm-mm.
They're going to take on the number 5 seed, which really whooped on the number 4 seed here. In my opinion, a bit of an upset, but 2 really quality polls. The number 4 seed is there always an Aunt Cheryl who shows up 30 minutes late pulling a pie out of her purse, losing with barely a quarter of the vote. 2, did Steve not eating June Thanksgiving dinner ruin June Thanksgiving dinner for everyone else? 74.2% of the audience advancing the number 5 seed. Bottom half of this division, number 3 seed is a guy walking into a funeral in jeans, the guy walking into a wedding in shorts. With 62.1% of the vote, that's going to move on.
Wow.
Defeating is the semicolon, the most look at me of the phone number hyphenation world. They're going to take on the number 2 seed, Steve. Are the middle anchors worthless in a pallbearer situation? Which defeated, in a relatively close matchup, are the tasty videos on social media more misleading than 9/11 conspiracy videos?
Still love them, though.
56.2 to 43.8. The number 2 seed moves on.
Boy.
Again, not a lot of upsets. Some close matchups, but I think we're in for a wild, senseless 16 here. We have a number 1 versus a number 5, a number 2 versus a number 3, a number 1 versus number 4, a number 2 versus a number 3. You're not going to believe this. A number 1 versus a number 5. What do you think's in the bottom half?
A number 2 versus a number 3?
You got it, Steve.
Hey.
And lastly, back all the way up to the patently absurd division, a number 1 versus a number 4.
Ooh.
And what do you think's on the bottom side?
A number 2 versus a number 3?
You got it all chalk this week on the bottom half of these divisions as we move
man.
on to the senseless 16.
That's fun. That is a lot of fun. So those polls are going to be posted up again on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram by the time you're listening to this podcast. And then the votes don't get tallied until like the day before we record the podcast.
Yeah,
so.
and if you're a Facebook user, their algorithm does not like how we post these just because they come fast and furious, which there's a lot of matchups. We want to get them all out there at the same time.
I'm going to separate them because I was posting them like every 10 minutes.
Sure.
But I think I'll separate them and do them like once an hour or something. So if you're listening to this podcast, go back to our at Stephen Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah. You'll see them all up there. Actually click on the page, click on the photos, and you'll see them all individually up there.
A lot of the Facebook ones especially will, some of them will be hidden from your timeline if you have your timeline set up that way. So click on our page, seek those out. If you're listening right now and you're on our Facebook page, please do that.
They think that we're spam.
And
we're some of the most quality content out there.
To the 2 people, and I know your names, and I'm going to say them. Adam, bunch of numbers on Twitter, voting for number 4 and letter D. Funny last year.
Because it's A and B. Get it?
Not funny this year.
Yeah, but Kyle, I don't think you get it. It's A and B. Yeah. So there's not a number 4.
You know who doesn't think it's funny, Steve? Bean Gardner, who's counting all these results and keeping them in official ballots until the time of the ceremony. Okay?
Yeah. We have gotten a mad text or 2 from them.
Yeah.
From
the bean counters. The
Claude.
literal bean counters at Gardner Bean. Bean Gardner. And the second name, I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed to mention this in public. Come on, Rusty.
Oh, God. What are you doing? You think he was hitting the sauce when he...
It must have been. I don't know another excuse for cracking wise on one of our Facebook polls as we just try to get honest results on what our best poll of the year was. And the yuckers are combining to vote for numbers and different letters, and I'm assuming next time I'll get a vote for an emoji. Listen, I've got a block hammer. I'll do it. I will do it, and I won't feel an ounce of regret. Don't tempt me, Adam, bunch of numbers in the town drunk. Don't tempt me.
I got a text yesterday from the town drunk. He was curious as to my review on Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. He said he was looking forward to hearing it. I hadn't yet watched it at that point yet.
You didn't give him a little sneak peek, did you?
He said, no. He said, I can't wait to hear. And then he said, I am biased, though one of the people on there reminds me of me. And other people have mentioned that, too.
Is it the tree?
And it makes me feel better about myself. Who on that movie would remind me of the town drunk Rusty?
Ronan?
I don't even really know. That was the dude.
That's the blue guy.
Yeah, blue guy who had the... Yeah.
It's
wait,
Ronan,
but there were two
Groot.
blue guys. Weren't there? Oh, wait. The blue guy that used to... that Peter lived with for a while? He helped raise him after he abducted him.
I'm going to let you get that name out. Come on. You remember it. You just watched it. It was 16 hours ago. What was it?
Whose name?
The blue guy. Lived
Ronan.
with Peter.
Didn't you just say it was Ronan?
No. Ronan's the big bad.
The big bad blue guy.
Is Ronan.
But this other dude is blue too, right?
Yeah. And what's his name? Come on. You know it. Come on, Steve.
Not sure I ever caught it.
The depths of your brain. Big character. A fan favorite character.
Hold on. Can I go back to my notes real quick to see if I wrote it down?
You think you wrote something other than blue guy? And other blue guy?
Peter's mom dies. He gets abducted by the aunt. So this is the guy who abducted Peter.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Chris Pratt, Stolen Orb, Green Chick. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Starts with a Y.
The collector wants to buy the orb.
The way he whistles.
Ronan. Drax.
Do you remember that he whistles, Steve?
Yeah, I know that he whistles because he can whistle and his arrow
arrows.
Yeah. Is he
starts with a Y? You're not going to get it. It's Yondu.
Boy, it doesn't even ring.
You think that would have? No. Okay.
No.
Really watching these though.
I thought you were going to say that it was just the whistler.
I feel like you're like building a deck while you're watching these.
I swear to God, I'm watching everything, but I just.
It's amazing that you can't retain names.
I've never been good with that.
Especially in literally a 28 movie, 14-year built universe where a guy from movie 3 might come back in movie 15 and you're going to go, It's like the gif of Leonardo DiCaprio when he sees that, was it him on the TV from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? You're going to jump up from the chair and point and go like, that guy, I know him.
But none of the people that were in Guardians of the Galaxy I've met before, right?
Correct.
Okay, so these are all new to me.
But next time you see them, you'll go through that.
I'm going to say it's the blue guy.
Yep, perfect.
The blue guy that whistles his arrows.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Boy. Well, apologies to Robert. I'm confident that we lost you at this point.
This is ridiculous.
So sorry.
Doing marathons again. I busted an Achilles and nothing else to do, so I'm sitting in your basement.
All right, so you can vote on Poll Badness.
Yes.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Steve and Kyle.
Big matchups. I love this. I can't wait to see who we crown.
Apologies, we did not get to our 309 caller of the day.
Oh, I'm sorry. Marlene. We actually had a 309. That's incredible. We had someone, and as you see, we ran afoul of the clock today.
All right, so next week it's 310, which I believe is the big apple, they call it.
Get out your Rolodex, Steve.
Yeah.
L.A.
Oh, L.A.
Beverly Hills.
That's where all the famous people live.
Malibu.
Hollyweird.
Long Beach.
Is that all?
That's it.
That's all 310.
That's all in the 310.
There's not a chance that we have one person listening to this show that has a 310 area code.
No
legitimately.
Chance. No chance.
Because we could probably get one on Google Voice or something.
Right.
But I want a real, authentic 310er.
Yeah, we need a 310er.
All right. Put the call out.
You're off the hook, 311. It's not real.
311 doesn't exist?
311 is used as a fictitious area code in Bell system advertisements depicting telephones. So 311.
Well, we're going to take a week off from the A-bit then.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to have to dig deep.
All right, again, at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you want to vote on Poll Badness. Also, newly posted within the last week, all of the videos of all of the Marvel movie reviews.
Yes.
I've been posting them on social media, but if you want to check them all out, there's a playlist on our YouTube channel. Just look for Steve and Kyle, or the Steve and Kyle podcast on YouTube, and you'll be able to check that out, including the one from this week's episode. So we will talk to you next week. See ya. tangy.
It really is. I never knew until finding that random article. Creating apples was so expensive and difficult.
That's why. Yeah, I talked about it when I was in character. I'm against the LGA. Lab grown apple.
Yep.
Give me the old classic.
You know, is that
Dirt, sun, water,
the water?
and passion.
Do you even consider Dolly the sheep a real sheep?
No, of course not.
LGS.
Lab grown sheep.
Imagine being an LGS, knowing there's no HGS, homegrown sheep.
Yeah, of course.
Who loves you?
Like you're basically... you're a cyborg.
If you're a cyborg sheep, imagine that.
You're the Westworld of sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, talk about a show that I loved and I just completely forgot about.
I think there's a season 4 coming out, but season 3 lost everybody? Or is it season 2? I never watched it. I tried one episode, but it was way too intensive, like in terms of focusing.
Yeah.
Dolly belongs in that show, though. Right next to
The Cosmic Curse.
Curse. No question.
All right.
Go fine apple. I really my own.
It's a good
It's a
apple.
nice breakfast combination after my donut.
It is a fine breakfast apple. Yeah.
I would not dare sully the taste of this apple with a fruit dip or an apple dip.
No. I do love those dips, though.
God, they're good dips,
Right?
aren't they?